Which are the challenges of a blockchain startups? I think that it's about time to find out an investor's point of view when it comes to building, growing, and then investing in a blockchain startup. So for that, I'm going to invite on stage Radu Georgescu, founding partner Gecad Ventures, in an open discussion with Sebastian Cochinescu, SupplyBlockchain CEO and founder. Welcome on stage. These are the mics.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, you have the other one right there. Okay.
Thank you, Gabi.
Hey.
Hi there. Hey, guys.
Oh, nice to be here with you guys after so long. Quick introductions. I'm Radu Georgescu, founding partner Gecad Ventures. I'm going to be today the guy that does not like blockchain, which is not far from who I am. Let's see, who are you going to be?
I'm going to be the one that is going to get all the punches. So basically a punching bag, a human punching bag. So.
Okay, so tell us about you. I mean, what are you doing? Where's the blockchain love coming from?
So I'm right now leading a company which is called SupplyBlockchain, and it's a project that is on the legitimate side of blockchain. And
is there such thing?
There is.
Okay.
Surprisingly, there is, and I'm proud to be part of a very select few that are legitimate in this business. Unfortunately, because as you are aware of, there are so many scams going on. And if you, by the way, how many of you in the audience have cryptocurrency whatsoever? I'm not going to ask how much. So that would be, let's say, a quarter, if I'm correct at estimating. So you're going to be in for a surprise, because today the price of Bitcoin just went down to 5,000, I think. And you shouldn't care about it, to be honest. Not the ones that have it, the other 3/4. And I'm not really caring about the price of the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies, because what I'm doing and what my company is doing is actually using the power and the blockchain technology.
So tell us about your company. I mean, let's see what are you doing. So and then we can kind of dissect the blockchain part.
Okay, so the company is aiming to solve a few problems in the supply chain industry, in the supply chain management industry, and that is transparency and trust in a vertical for pharmaceutical industry, where unfortunately there are 1 million people dying each year because of using counterfeit drugs and because of illicit trade. Then we could use our solution for manufacturing goods, for the use of sweatshops and child labor, so it's not going to happen anymore, and also for humanitarian aid. So it has a social purpose, but it's also a $1,000 billion market, and we are doing that by tracking products from along the supply chain and pairing the data into public blockchains. And one thing that is very important to mention is that we are blockchain agnostic. So we use public blockchains, and we are using multiple public blockchains.
Let me stop you here for a second. So as a VC, I'm getting about 10 or 20 blockchain companies opportunities per day. Why in the hell blockchain? Why not database? I mean, why blockchain? What is?
Yeah, so the promise of the blockchain nowadays is that it offers truth, transparency, immutability.
That's kind of like Bible, I guess, huh?
We may go into a philosophical discussion for the next 8 hours or so, but I think you guys have plans for tonight. But it comes, of course, to the core values of human beings, which is one of them is the truth. And public blockchains, at least, offer a truth that is not intermediated. So it's subject to public consensus. So that would be why am I using blockchain and not a simple database? Because databases, as we know them, are prone to hacking and tampering with. It depends on how much an incentive you have to tamper a database. And the public blockchains, in theory, the public blockchains so far have not been hacked and offer the truth that we all need. And in my case...
But we acknowledge the fact that they may be hacked.
Of course.
I mean, they probably, if it's important enough, they will be hacked in the future.
I can't recall who mentioned it, but I think it's pretty spot on. Security is a state of mind. So if you want to believe you're secure, you're secure. In this case, the public blockchain so far have not been hacked because they rely on cryptography and game theory and public consensus. And even the public consensus right now is moving from proof of work to proof of stake, which may also prevent the 51% attacks. But I wouldn't go into details. I would just mention that it's a promise, that it's somehow better than what's regular database.
Let's stick to the promise versus perception kind of discussion that we had before. And you're saying that consensus and a lot of people, democracy and all these great words. But at the end of the day, there are like, what, 12 pools that are mining, even though there are thousands of people and computers, there are only 12 pools. And 2 of them are actually 52% of the things. And the 2 pools that are controlling the public blockchains, we don't really know who they are.
No, we don't. Nobody knows.
They're maybe Chinese or whatever.
We don't.
So at the end of the day, there is an intermediary that we don't know who they are, and they can change things. So the thing is, do we trust the 2 pools that we don't know who they are, or do we trust Dynamo in AWS?
So, I have 2 answers for your concern, because it's a concern more than a question. So the first I would address would be the consensus, the 50+%, that it's work in progress right now, at least in Ethereum with proof of stake. So if you move from proof of work to proof of stake, then you at least try to address that.
Okay.
And the second would be the power, the mining power is also something that is characteristic for Bitcoin mostly. And there are several new blockchains that are trying to address the security issues. One of them would be, of course, Elrond, our Romanian friends.
Yep. Okay, so basically what I understand from you is that at the end of the day, blockchain is a tool, which is like a database, any kind of database or whatever. And one may choose blockchain as opposed to another database because of a promise that I'm calling kind of a perception, that it is better in terms of security, perceived security today.
So imagine yourselves that we are actually always relying on intermediaries, and I don't think intermediaries are actually bad by default. So I'm not in a position to say that, but there are some things that you would love to have it on autopilot. So instead of doing initializing a transaction and then the settlement, and in between someone that should decide for you, you could do it for yourself. So I think it's not a perception; it's actually a promise, and it is a bit. Just a bit fulfilled. So I'm part of the cohort that is trying to fulfill it on a legitimate base.
Okay. Okay. So basically what you're saying is that if I'm trying to do something that has to do with trust and needs a database, I should actually legitimately consider blockchain as a technology?
I wouldn't be that broad, because the blockchain word is actually used for so many meanings, and there are some major companies that use blockchain, and actually they mean private blockchain or DLT. So, but the short answer is, yeah, I would look in your shoes, but I would dismiss 19 out of those 20 companies that you get pitched by every day.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so sorry, I stopped you about your company.
Yeah. So now about my company, and I just I've seen earlier some other startup trying to address somehow the same problem, and why we are different. So first of all, we are relying on public blockchains, and that is a big advantage for us and differentiator. And also we are targeting small and medium businesses. So we don't necessarily, at this point in time, compete with the guys with the corporate world and with the big competitors such as IBM, SAP, and so on and so on. And today I have had a short presentation on a demo, because I think what a lot of companies in the blockchain business do not have, after, I don't know, $30 million raised in 10 minutes in an ICO, and 1 year later, they still don't have a product. And as someone in an investment company told me, companies like me are pretty rare, because in 3 months we have a product and we have our first paying customers. For instance, in Romania we have Burda Logistics and Minipri, which are some of you may know, and we are working on several different verticals after just 3 months of starting this company. So this is, I hope it works. This is how it looks like. This is how a blockchain company looks like. It's actually a software as a service, and it's a platform. So the blockchain part we will see later on, but what we are actually doing is tracking products along the supply chain, create QR codes that we physically attach to those packages or products. In the future, it will be RFIDs, or we are investigating other tech to use. And then there's that's actually in a warehouse, an actual package that is scanned with iOS or Android phones. The data is sent to the database, not blockchain. It's sent to a database. But at the same time, it is sent into a blockchain transaction. So you have a split of 2 transactions, 2 actions. So let's take this into account, that there is someone, an evildoer, that want to modify the database. For instance, you have a diamond that is worth $1 million, and you can afford to pay $100,000 to a hacker to hack into your database. Well, what we have here on the screen is actually blockchain transaction, public blockchain transaction that is immutable. So that's something that that's how we are providing the truth. And then you have the live tracking of all the packages and the truth verification. Is this tampered with or not? So it's pretty simple. I just wanted to show you today that there are such things as blockchain products live and legitimate.
Sure. No, and that's great, and congratulations. I mean, that's a great thing. I kind of continue to think in my own mind that blockchain is a technology that potentially replaces, in some cases, databases, and that people coming and claiming we are a blockchain company, it's like we're a database company. I mean, it's not their core thing.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
It kind of sounds cool. Yeah.
Why not?
That's it.
But unfortunately, most of them do that in order to. Do you know the company in UK that put blockchain in their name and got 5 times their
valuation? They're not the only ones.
Yeah, I'm not in that. Although
so
it's called
what's your company name?
SupplyBlockchain, but but it's not. It was before. We had a good valuation from the start. Let's say.
There we go. There we go.
So there's no need for tricks.
Look, that's really great. So look, we have 1.5 minutes, for potential questions, if you guys have.
I would have expected for a quarter of the.
No questions.
So I'm open.
Let me shoot one more to you. So I guess what you are actually selling is a process. So you are cleaning up the process of supply to that guys, right? So you are a supply process company using, by the way, the blockchain technology.
Yes, that's correct. So we are adding a layer of transparency. We are not replacing or disrupting the industry of X and replace X with whatever. We are actually trying to add an extra layer of transparency and trust to existing systems.
Okay.
There might be a point in the future where blockchain startups may actually provide value on themselves, but that's not what we are aiming to do. We are aiming on making it a commodity. Like, you don't even know what's underneath, but you just trust it because it is based on a public blockchain. So I think that's a good legitimate use case.
And let me shoot the last question kind of thing, the last kick. What if, so you're growing, you're a big company based on the public blockchain and all these good things, right? And you have all the investors for the miner, all the incentives for the miners and everything. Suddenly, because of some interest of somebody, that public blockchain crashes or is being burned or hacked or whatever. What happens to your company 10 minutes later?
I think we're gonna grow our valuation by tenfold. Okay. Because, as I was mentioning earlier, we are blockchain agnostic. So that means we have at least 3 or 4 blockchains that we have our data paired into. We run in parallel. Okay. So if one goes down, so be it.
Or if the data is being stolen from one?
Well, the data, we are encrypting data, so it's not actually, doesn't matter whomever gets it, even if they manage to decrypt it, they are mumble rumble, nothing.
Right. So what you're saying is that database is crap, blockchain solves all the problems.
No, I'm not. Definitely, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we should be more cautious while dismissing all of the blockchain space as scams. But at the same time, be very careful and aware that blockchain companies, legitimate blockchain companies, are hard to find.
Great. Thank you so much, Sebastian. That was very nice, and I look forward to speaking more.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Guys.
Thank you so much.